Good morning, everybody. It's a little early for the beer farts, but I am Mike Ryan Ruiz. That's Chris Wittyngham. Happy World Cup final. Smile because one of the biggest matches in soccer history is here, but also mourn a little bit because we're at the end of an incredible journey that left us morally compromised and took our breath away.
Yes, the morally compromised bit. Certainly, I'm thinking about that a little bit this morning, but you can't really help but get swept up in what is an amazing occasion. It is the biggest game in the world. It is by an order of magnitude bigger than the Super Bowl. And I know that sounds ridiculous to people who might be watching this on our YouTube channel, but this is the biggest sporting event in the world by a considerable distance. And not only you would have that under normal circumstances, you would have that if Croatia and Morocco were playing, but now you have France and Argentina in the World Cup final. There is so much to this game. There is so much that has happened over the course of this World Cup, over the course of the last two World Cups, and for Argentina since 2006 when Lionel Messi made his debut for Argentina, that has happened. These are two countries that are dreaming of history. For Argentina, first World Cup since 1986. For France, joining the elite company that has won this competition in back-to-back editions. There is so much to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to see something for the first time in our lives, really. The last time Argentina won, I was 1 year old. I've never seen a country go back-to-back in the men's game, so we're going to witness history. This feels big even by World Cup final standards because of everything that's on the line. We've talked about it ad nauseum. It's inescapable. Lionel Messi, will this be his crowning achievement? Or will we ascend Kylian Mbappe to that GOAT conversation? Because at the age of 23, Chris, he can get the two hardest trophies before his club career really even gets going. The sky's the limit for this player, and he's already shown a proclivity to show up against this Argentinian team.
And if you look at the history of multiple-time World Cup winners, it's basically just Italians from 1934 to 1938 and Brazilians from 1958 to 1962. Multiple-time World Cup winners are not a thing. Three-time World Cup winners, there's only one, and that's Pele, which is why he's considered one of the GOATs, and probably, in my view, it's a little bit short-shrifted in terms of that conversation. But with Mbappe to have achieved two, potentially by the age of 23, and by the way, we talk about just him, but I mean, think about the number of multiple-time World Cup winners that will be in this team if they hang on to the result today. Giroud, Griezmann, Hugo Lloris, Rafael Varane. You can go on through this team. It's changed some, and the injuries have played a huge role in their World Cup chase, but the number of players that will etch their name into history if France do this again is astounding.
It'll continue to confound everyone, Olivier Giroud's legacy as a footballer. If he somehow gets a second, his first World Cup experience famously doesn't get on the score sheet throughout the entire tournament. Kind of a punchline, even though he does all the dirty work. This tournament, a little bit different. There was some chatter that he might not start. I didn't get that at all.
Yeah.
He's been, even though he's missed a few chances, he's been as good as you would hope at this stage in his career. There's something about this guy. He just finds the back of the net.
Yeah, and he helps make this France team work. They know how to play with Olivier Giroud, and that, I think, is really important when you consider that, you know, Karim Benzema could have been the center forward, and maybe they would also be in this final if Karim Benzema are up top. Maybe it might even be better than what we see from this France team. And honestly, I do think that France sometimes leave things on the table. But who gives a shit when you're at the doorstep of the World Cup final? Who cares if maybe they could be better? They do what they need to do to win. It's funny, I was listening on the way into the conversation about England retaining Gareth Southgate as their manager, and one of the things that they talked about was sort of a lack of ruthlessness with England when they get into these big games. France have it in abundance. They will kill you if you make mistakes, and that sort of is the defining trait of their semifinal win over Morocco. I don't think Morocco were that bad. You can even argue that Morocco were better, but France got into two moments. They both turned into deflected shots, and there was somebody running off the back of it to just punish you. They will punish your mistakes and will not make very many of their own. That is sort of their motif at the last two World Cups, and Giroud kind of makes the whole thing work.
On France's last march to a world title in the men's game, they had to go through Argentina. It was a really memorable game.
Yeah.
Pavard with a goal for the ages, and Mbappe really fully announced himself to the world. However, Argentina's a bit of a different side now.
Yeah.
Messi's playing better. I know he got an assist. It was a weird deflection there. But the goalkeeping situation is far better right now for Argentina. Does Argentina have what it takes along that back line and between the six to kind of hinder what Mbappe is looking to do out there today?
I think it's a big question because, oddly, when you're facing the challenge of Mbappe, normally teams think about how they adjust to it. Morocco went to a back five. England nearly did. They decided to stick with what they were doing, but Argentina have actually gone more attacking and have gone for less running in the middle with the introduction of Angel Di Maria into the team, which I am surprised by. I'm surprised at the fact that they've gone for a player who has not played since the group stage, not a minute, not even off the bench. And so I just think that to go with him from the start is a bit of a risk. It puts a lot of pressure on Nahuel Molina, the right back for Argentina, to deal with the danger of Mbappe. It actually puts pressure on both Di Maria and Molina to have some joy going forward, because as much as Mbappe is the strength going forward, Mbappe is also the weakness in defense. Right. And so how do you turn starting Di Maria and that Molina access down the right into some joy, into creating some danger down that right side? So I'm genuinely curious from a tactical standpoint how this game plays out, how you take advantage of the weakness of France, which for me is down that defensive left. And maybe Argentina can get some joy, but they've gone for it today. They picked Di Maria. They had a late injury in the build-up as well. Marcos Acuna was going to come back and play at left back, but instead he was injured in the build-up, which has to suck for him, and they've gone for Nicolas Tagliafico, who's had a decent tournament. So a couple of interesting changes in this Argentina team.
We'll be back with you at halftime. We're out here at Auld Dubliner in downtown Miami, right next to the train stop. Don't drink and drive. We'll see you at halftime, and we'll try to figure out what to make of this game, because headed into it, I think it's going to be cagey. Maybe take that first half under. We'll be back with you in just a little bit.